Explanation of the principle of scapular movement and stabilization. The stability of the scapulae on the rib cage is particularly important because the scapulae provide a base for the arms and also support the cervical spine. If the scapulae are not stable, the muscles around the neck can easily become overworked and fatigued. Practitioners must always be mindful of scapular stability during exercise. A. When the spine is in a neutral position and the arms are still. B. When the spine is flexing or extending. C. When the arms are moving in any direction. Since the shoulder blades do not have a direct skeletal connection with the ribs or spine, the scapulae have great mobility. The scapulae can elevate, lift, depress, lower, retract, pull inward, and protract, move forward. Or they can combine these movements, allowing for a greater range of motion in the arms. During practice, the entire shoulder girdle must maintain a sense of stability but avoid tension. Both the front and back sides of the scapulae should maintain a broad horizontal stretch. Do not overextend the range of shoulder movement. The scapula should rest flat against the rib cage and slide smoothly along the ribs without visibly winging, where the inner edge of the scapula detaches from the rib cage. Remember, the movement of the scapula should respond to the movement of the arms and thoracic spine. For example, when the arms are raised overhead, the scapula naturally elevates. When the spine flexes, the scapula protracts. Practitioners should be aware that one person's neutral scapular position may differ slightly from another's natural resting posture. Adjustments must be made based on individual body alignment. The process of stabilizing the scapula should be included in the initial phase of all exercises and serve as a foundational step before beginning the movement. In supine positions, when the spine is flexed and the body is lifted off the mat, stabilizing the scapula helps prevent excessive tension in the neck and avoids overprotraction or rotation of the scapula. Before extending the spine, the scapulae should first be stabilized, and at the same time, the head should move away from the tailbone in the direction of extension. This helps limit the range of motion and prevents a loss of dynamic stability in the upper body chain. This chapter explains that scapular stabilization involves engaging the entire group of stabilizing muscles, rather than focusing on individual muscles. The key areas of focus are the serratus anterior, obliques, trapezius, and the muscles involved in scapular elevation and depression. Scapular movement and stabilization principle exercises. The following movements explain the principle of scapular movement and stabilization. 1. Scapular protraction, retraction exercise. Starting position. One lies supine with the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Bend both knees with feet flat on the mat, hip width apart. Arms are extended straight up toward the ceiling, palms facing inward. Starting position 2. Sit upright with the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Extend both arms forward, palms facing inward. Inhale, protract the scapulae, expanding the space between the shoulder blades. Exhale, return the scapulae to a neutral position, retracting the shoulder blades and engaging the muscles in the upper back. Repeat the exercise 3-5 times. Inhale, retract the scapulae, pulling the shoulder blades closer together. Exhale, return the scapulae to a neutral position, retracting the shoulder blades and engaging the muscles in the upper back. Repeat the exercise 3-5 times. Perform the same movement from a seated position with both arms extending forward. 2. Scapular elevation and depression exercise. Starting position. Lie supine with the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Bend both knees with feet flat on the mat, hip width apart. Arms are extended along the sides of the body, palms facing down. Inhale. Slide both shoulders up toward the ears, elevating the scapula. Exhale. Lower the shoulders down, pressing the palms gently into the mat and depress the scapulae. Imagine your scapulae gently pulling down your back in a V-shaped motion along the spine. Avoid rotating the arms during this movement. 3. Arm scissors exercise. Starting position. Lie supine with the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Bend both knees with feet flat on the mat, hip width apart. Arms are extended straight up toward the ceiling, palms facing inward. Inhale. Prepare for movement. Exhale. One arm reaches overhead while the other arm reaches down toward the mat. Keep the abdominal muscles engaged, the rib cage connected to the mat, and maintain scapular stability. Inhale. Bring both arms back up toward the ceiling. Repeat the arm scissor movement on the other side, alternating the arm movements. 4. Arm circles exercise. Starting position. Lie supine with the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Bend both knees with feet flat on the mat, hip width apart. Arms are extended along the sides of the body. Inhale. Lift both arms straight up toward the ceiling. Engage the abdominal muscles. Keep the rib cage connected to the mat and maintain scapular stability. Exhale. Circle the arms outward and downward, making a complete circular motion. Repeat the movement in the opposite direction,